story. Next we have Diane Hart, and then I guess it would be appropriate if I said, and then after her would be Justine Ratcliffe Kelly. Ma'am, thank you for coming. You can start any time. Did you submit written testimony to us? Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Diane. My divorce from an abusive man has been pending since November 2011, going to trial in Middletown in February. I have watched the lives of my children and I go from bad to a nightmare that we live and breathe daily, a nightmare that I could never possibly imagine would happen, a nightmare that continues to get worse every day, a nightmare that the court system and the GAL strongly contributed to and could have prevented had the court system and the GAL truly acted for what is in the best interest of my children. Oops. I stand before you penniless, verge of homelessness, and childless. I went from being a full-time mom, their primary caregiver, to seeing them 2 hours a week. Equal parenting time? No. Best interest of my children? Absolutely not. Financially destroyed, only asset is the marital home, a home that is now worth zero. After all the attorney's fees are paid, leaving me with no money for my girls to attend college or buy a new home. The first attorney requested the GAL. I quickly realized that was a waste of money. My parental rights were being infringed upon by a stranger who after 2 years, still doesn't know what grades my girls are in school. Asked for his removal, was told never could be done. Wow, such power given to a person who only takes a few classes. She withdrew, $3,000 gone, I owe her another $3,000. $2,000 for a second lawyer, poor representation for 1 year. He withdrew when my case was sent to Middletown, now suing me for $62,000. GAL owe him about $75,000. I filed valid grievances against the GAL, and then the court granted his motion to obtain an attorney to protect him, not me, him, in my divorce proceedings. My bill for that, $11,000. Grievances showed the GAL blatantly lied to the court on the record, causing more harm to my children. All were dismissed. My present attorney, $4,000. I anticipate owing him $70 more. The girls witnessed their father threaten me, write disparaging words on bathroom mirror with a crayon every day, get inches from my face, posturing to hit me, banged on bathroom doors, walls while I showered, told the girls I didn't love them, wouldn't be their mother soon, blasted hardcore music about murder, sex, drugs, and more. I tell you this because the GAL had the same knowledge. Emails to him were ignored. He never called me or my girls about the abuse. Phone calls from my family members and letters were ignored, and who suffered? My children. Divorce is trauma. Children have a right to love both parents. Children have a right to see both parents, and children have a right to be protected from the emotional abuse that is caused by parental alienation. The father stopped the visitation in June or dictated I meet him at a cemetery. He would stay and make the girls say they didn't want to go while videotaping them. Then they left. The GAL knew all of this. Just basically, my lawyer filed contempt. The GAL recommended decreased time for me, 2 hours. The father kept, it was in contempt, and then my present lawyer filed, and finally their father was fined and jailed about 6 weeks ago. It didn't stop him, though. Regarding the statute 46B56, I'm not going to read it. My answers are all there. The court did not consider any of them in my case. And my recommendation is that the GAL should not be attorneys. The training should be a minimum of 80 hours, including parental alienation. GALs should not be appointed unless both parties agree to a capped spending. The GAL can be removed, like in my case. Shared custody is a must, and the court must have mandatory consequences if either parent violates that statute. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Ms. Veronal?
Hi, Diane. Thanks for coming. Who is this GAL that knew all this information, but they never did anything about it?
Who is it?
Yes.
You know I'm going to trial in February, and he's still on the case.
So you're afraid to even say who it is?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Weissmuller.
Excuse me. You went through the money that you'd spent rather quickly. But what was the dollar rate per hour that the attorneys were billing on your case? And if it varied, if you recall,
Well,
what
the
was
first
each
one
rate?
was 300, the second one was 250, and my present one is 300. The GAL is 350.
Are you given a breakdown of those bills so that you can see what each item is and what they were doing at what times of the day when they were billing?
I have not seen one bill.
You have not seen a bill?
I'm just told what I owe. Sued for what I owe. I have not seen one bill.
There's not been an affidavit or live testimony that explains how these hours that were allegedly spent in support of your children were spent? There's nothing?
I have nothing.
Is there a court order that says that these bills are reasonable?
Tom, can
Well-
I just ask, can she break it down? I don't, if the question is her own lawyers, the GAL, both? I just
Sure.
want,
No,
if we
that's
could
fair.
break that down, that would be,
Yeah. Well, I'm asking about the GAL, just so you know.
Oh, the GAL, I did ask several times, and I never got one. I still haven't got one. He's still on the case. We're going to Middletown, so I know that the girl's father paid him off, so that's why I think he's swayed, and he's taken the girl's father's side, and why he's done nothing to help my girls.
Is there an order in place that explains how that GAL fee will be divided?
50-50?
50/50? Does that match up with the breakdown on your child support equitable worksheet?
I don't understand the question.
Well, when you go into court, you fill out worksheets to determine child support, and sometimes somebody makes 80% of the combined wealth.
Right now.
Yeah, well, but normally, well, frequently, I won't say what's normal. I guess judges can do what they do. Did you have an opportunity to argue that the fee should be apportioned in a way so that whoever's making more money might contribute more towards the fee?
Well, unfortunately, I'm making more money.
Okay, well, no, then you're probably doing okay at 50/50.
Well, I'm not.
Okay.
so I just wanted to clarify, you've never received an itemized, date-specific, broken-down bill from the guardian ad litem for
No.
fees that you've paid?
I have not paid any fees.
Oh, you haven't paid any?
He wants
Has
to.
your attorney seen a bill from the guardian ad litem?
My new attorney?
Any of your attorneys?
I believe my second attorney did.
Okay, so the guardian ad litem did submit a bill. Did the court ever rule on it, if it was fair and reasonable? Did the court ever consider it, or just was it submitted and expected to be paid?
Expected to be paid.
Okay, and at that point, and you're saying you didn't pay any, were you under an obligation to pay it?
I don't have any money.
No, I'm not, that's not my question. I'm concerned that you were under an obligation to pay a bill that no one gave you an itemized copy of. So I'm asking if you were under an obligation to pay it. Whether you paid it or not is not important to me.
Yes, I am under obligation to pay it.
But you've never seen one.
No, I have not.
You're just getting a dollar amount that you're,
Yes, that's correct.
and who's giving you that dollar amount, your lawyer or the guardian ad litem?
My second lawyer did.
Okay, so your second lawyer is getting a copy of the bill and just telling you what it is you're supposed to pay?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. That's helpful. Any other questions?
In your written testimony, the last line, you suggest that there should be mandatory consequences for noncompliance with those provisions in 46B 56. Did you have some specific suggestions for the consequences?
Well, like, the girl's father, he violated the court orders for 2 years. He controlled the court. He still does. And he never once, it goes back to what Joan said, you get the slap on the wrist, and he walks out of there untouchable. 2 years of that. He got worse and worse and worse till he just stopped visitation altogether for the summer. He should have been thrown in jail immediately. Immediately. He should have been fined immediately. When he finally was fined after 2 years, the time he was locked up, which was like an hour, was the only time he stopped violating. He's back to it again.
So did you have some suggestions for something other than fines or jail time?
Well, you could do mandatory change in custody arrangements, absolutely. It could be back to like the 3 strikes you're out rule, absolutely. I agree with that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
welcome.
I appreciate your coming before us, especially in light of the fact that you aren't nervous about the consequences. So I thank you for sharing your story with us.